My name is Joanne Sánchez, and my video photographer and I, Ramon Galindo, are at the home of Mrs. Rafaela Esquivel in San Antonio, Texas, for the U.S. Latino and Latina World War II Oral History Project. And thank you so much, Rafaela, for letting us interview you today. Okay, tell me where you lived. What city was it? And tell me about your parents, where they were from.
Well, my father was born in San Nicolas of Los Agustines, Guanajuato, Mexico.
And when was that?
February the 3rd, 1888. My mother was born in Puebla, Mexico, May the 2nd, 1902. My father left Mexico when he was 17. When he arrived, I don't know. My mother came as a 12-year-old with my grandmother, who was widowed with, I don't remember how many uncles there were, but she was the only girl that came.
So they were coming during the Revolution. Your mother was coming during the Revolution. If she came when she was 12 and she was born in 1902, that was 1914.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Well, I had her an aunt whose husband opened a business, and of course he, I don't know why he ended up here in the U.S., but he opened up a grocery store where later it became Chevrolet Company downtown.
Uh-huh.
And that's when he encouraged my grandmother to come to the U.S. because he thought that they could do it better over here.
So he was also here in San Antonio?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the older uncles are the ones that started working. They were young. They were teenagers. I remember, I think I must have been about 4 or 5 years old. And my youngest uncle was about 14, I think, at the time, because he went to school, what later became Tech High School. He went to the old Main Avenue school. So he wasn't working at the time, but my uncles started working as mechanics.
Uh-huh.
Auto mechanics. And my father was always working, so...
And tell us what he did.
He was a cement finisher and all kinds of labor, carpentry, you name it, he did it. And not until about 1929 is when he decided to buy a lot. And the house wasn't even complete. We had a room with just the floor, but we, on weekends, helped him build it up. And my mother and some of his friends would come over and help him do the nailing and the hard part.
Mm-hmm. And about how many children were there already at this point?
At that time, we were 6.
Uh-huh. And how many would you become in your family?
We were 2 or 5. No, we were 5.
5 children?
Yes, because the 6th one was born there in this new place.
And how many siblings did you eventually have?
16. The last ones were twins, twin boys. They did not live very long. And of course, we had enough, my father built enough rooms later on to accommodate the family. But as time went on, we left home with the war. First me as a student, and then the boys.
Mm-hmm. How did the Depression years affect your family from the late 1929 on into the 30s?
As far as I can remember, my father's work was getting scarce, and through a contractor that was had a project in Monterey. I think that's when they constructed the one of the beer brewers up there. I don't remember which one it is, but he helped, work there. And how long he stayed, I don't remember. And afterwards, he wasn't working much at all.
And so how did your family make ends meet? Did your mom have some work, or did she do something in the home to make money?
Well, my mother used to have at the time we used to have a fruit, I guess a fruit peddler you might call it. He used to have a horse and wagon, and he used to come every day. And my mother used to sew dresses or aprons, and sometimes in exchange for the fruit, because we always had vegetables and the fruit. We always had that for some reason.
Great.
And we were involved in the big conch shelling, but we didn't last too long because that was too dirty, and hard. It was hard. And
so you, as a child, were doing pecan shelling, or?
Well, I was 14 at the time, or 13. I don't remember, something like that. But I didn't care for it either, because as it was, we didn't have enough clothes, except enough to go to school. But that business of staining your clothes wasn't exactly what we wanted.
So the pecan shells would stain your clothes?
Oh, yes. And then my mother, through my aunt, who had a friend or something, told her about this handkerchief factory that they had. And this was outside work, you could bring it into the home. And it was very, very intricate work, because a lot of it was applique handkerchiefs. And I think the name of that company was Rochester Handkerchiefs something. And we used to help her sew. And I know sometimes it was just the edging that you had to do, or the applique work, depending on the amount of work that it required. And of course, the pay, I think they paid some of them anywhere from $1.50 to $3 something.
For how many?
Per dozen.
Per dozen.
Per dozen. So my sister and I used to help her sew, and I didn't care too much for that sewing part. So my job was to keep house. In other words, cooking and washing and ironing. And then, I guess, let's see. I think that's when I don't even remember when he started working for the WPA. They call it Workers Progress Administration.
And what did he do for the Works Progress Administration?
The same thing, the same kind of job, as far as I know. In fact, some of the work there at the Villita, I don't know if you've heard of it or not.
Yes.
Well, he did some of that work in there.
Great.
And at that time too, my sister, the older sister, was going out of school, and she joined what they call the what is it, NYA? I think it was NYA.
Mm-hmm.
And
It was another
well, she did some other
depression
work.
program.
She did some. She worked in a laboratory, but I don't remember what she did. Anyway, she had several jobs, but she ended up working at Lackland.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which sister was this?
the oldest. In fact, I think before then she even worked for Maury Maverick's father.
Mm-hmm.
That was during the time of Emma Tenayuca, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
okay, and some of her friends used to tease her, and call my sister also that she was a communist because she was working for him, but she didn't care. No, he's a good boss.
Now, who was he?
He was some mayor then.
Uh-huh.
I think he was, yeah.
And his name was Morris?
Maury
Maverick.
Maverick Sr.
Uh-huh.
Because Maury
Maverick. Okay.
Jr. writes a column now
Yes.
in the Express. And I think he has talked about it in some of his write-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And but anyway, eventually my sister ended up at Lackland, where she ended up working as a court reporter.
Uh-huh.
And then afterwards she went to Germany,
Mm-hmm.
civil service. There she worked as in strategic air command or something.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I was concerned, went through school, high school, graduated. And of course we were seeing better times then, you know. But all throughout my middle school year, I always made up my mind that I was going to end up as an RN. I didn't know how,
Mm-hmm.
but I said, I'm going.
Tell me about your school as a child, your schooling. Did you go to a public school or?
No, we went to public schools. I went to Arac, and this was a school that was named after a war hero also. And we used to go half a day because there were so many students. And we were a mixed group. The only ones that did not go there were the black, because we didn't have anybody around there.
So it was not a segregated school?
No.
Were you allowed to speak Spanish at school?
No one ever told me not to.
Uh-huh. And
the only thing that my first grade teacher tried to do was change the spelling of my first name.
Mm-hmm.
She would erase the F and put PH, and I would erase it and put.
And did she do that to your siblings too?
Well, I don't know whether she did, but along the line, my sister's name was changed from Raquel to Rachel. My sister Mary Alice was also a somewhere along the line. Mary Alice. My brothers, Rodolfo, Rudolph, my brother Rogelio, Roger, and I think afterwards, Raul was also changed into Roy. But I don't know how that happened, because they would have to tell you themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
How were you treated at school, and how were your siblings treated at school?
Well, as far as we were concerned, we never had any difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
No. No. I got along with all of them.
Mm-hmm. And you spoke Spanish in your home?
We spoke Spanish at home until we, or you might say enough of us went to school and learned English, and we could converse amongst ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Except for my mother and my father, who did not, speak. Although my father spoke broken English, and my mother could understand, but she could not talk. And believe it or not, we had a German neighbor who used to visit my mother. They used to visit each other.
Uh-huh.
And how they got along, I really don't know. Because she would always come and she says, look what Mrs. Robinson gave me, some string beans or some donuts or something. But I don't know how she got, how she communicated really. Maybe through science.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, we all went practically to the same schools, except for the younger ones. When they changed areas, they went to another elementary, but we all attended the same middle school. We all attended the same high school, except for one who went to Jefferson.
Did you all graduate from high school?
We all graduated.
That's wonderful.
Except for one brother who was Down syndrome.
Yes.
But that's one thing I suppose we have to thank our parents, that they never said don't go to school.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I always had a goal that I was going to be a nurse. So I took academic courses all the way, so that in case I went to college or they required that, I would have that background.
Did you work while you were going to school?
No.
And your siblings, were they working while they were going to school? Or?
Well, afterwards, after I left home, I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because I left when I was 19
Mm-hmm.
to go to nursing school, so I'm really not very much aware of dates or
Mm-hmm.
what went,
Mm-hmm.
what really went on.
Were you involved in any activities in school, any clubs, or?
Well, the only thing that I ever, you might say, joined was like a glee club, something that did not require money.
Mm-hmm. And were there other Mexican Americans in the Glee club?
Oh, we were all, it was never segregated, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
My schooling was never segregated. It was all mixed up except for blacks.
Mm-hmm.
They had different schools.
And so they allowed you to join whatever clubs you wanted.
Yeah, you had the money, you could be in a club. So the Glee club did not require any. And the press club didn't require it.
What were you doing when you heard that Pearl Harbor had been bombed?
I was asleep. I was asleep because I had been on night duty, and this classmate of mine came and shook me up and says, Muniz. I said, what? She says, they bombed Pearl Harbor. I said, what's that? Because I didn't know anything about Pearl Harbor. And like I told you, I'll mention it, was that when we could, we'd have a paper. We didn't have a radio.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we didn't have a radio until after I finished high school.
Uh-huh.
And
what year did you graduate from high school?
1938.
Uh-huh.
And then I went an extra year because I still had no way of knowing how I was going to go into nursing school. Through a friend of the family, he escorted me to the Santa Rosa Hospital, but they required a lot of money and and I knew I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
He took me to what was then Westmoreland College. It's Trinity University now.
Mm-hmm.
That required a lot of money. So I said, God, what am I going to do?
So how did you get to nursing school?
Well, one day my father asked me, well, what do you plan to do? And I said, well, what I want to do, I don't know what I want to do. Or how am I going to do it? So he says, well, let me know and maybe we can work it out. So I told him. I said, well, you go get some information and then maybe we can do something. So I did, walked all the way to town, because where I lived is like, how far is it from Leon?
About 2 miles.
So it'd be like 2 miles from here all the way downtown.
2 miles east
Yeah.
from your house.
And
So you
That's-
walked
that's-
2 miles.
that's the way how far I had to walk to go to high school also. But
So you walked every day to high school.
So even at the rugby green, you know, when I went to inquire about what the requisites were. So I was told, and so they said $60 to register.
For
So
Robert B. Green Nursing
Rugby
School.
Green Memorial
Mhm.
Hospital. And I thought, how am I going to get the $60? So I came and told my father. So he says, okay, now we can do something. So he went and got a loan from somewhere.
Great.
And he says, okay, now, what else do you need? I said, well, I require clothing. So he opened up a charge account. What is now Dillard's, it used to be Jaskis, Jaski Brothers.
I remember that.
So we got a charge account there and got all my clothing, my white clothing that I needed. And boy, that was a happy day. So out of those $60, that took care of some of my books for the first year. And we had schooling, you know, classes and all that. And not until after we were there, I think after 4 months, we got our first pay, $4 a month.
$4 a month.
$4 a month. But with that money, I bought myself another wristwatch because the first one broke. But I was able to buy a wristwatch. The second year we were paid $5 a month. The last year we were paid $6 a month.
So you were in nursing school for 3 years.
For 3 years.
And you're a registered nurse?
Yes. I don't have a BS degree because I never did go afterwards. I started because they offered some classes from Incarnate Word. You know, we went to Santa Rosa to take the classes. But I couldn't do it because at the time I was working nights and then having to go to class for the you know, my schooling, and then having to walk over to Santa Rosa. I mean, that took a lot of time, and I didn't sleep, and I needed my sleep.
Now, did you walk to work too?
Well, no,
Robert
we
B.
had
Green?
nurses' quarters there. So.
Uh-huh.
But when I was taking those classes from the Incarnate Word, we had to walk to Santa Rosa. And when we took our lab work, which was chemistry classes, we had to walk to Tech High School, which was maybe a distance about 10 blocks or something like that.
So what year was it that you finished your nursing degree?
I graduated in May of, 42.
42.
42, but I had to finish my time, so my time was not ended until August. And somewhere around there is when the Red Cross was offering classes for, one was for swimming, and another one was for CPR. Of course, I never swam. And not until the last lesson that we had was a beginning, but it was all over and I couldn't go back. But they asked who would like to join the Red Cross. And so I did, and then we were asked, you know, if we wanted to be in the service.
Uh-huh.
So I did. But you know, I had always looked forward to traveling and maybe working sometime civil service, you know, as an RN. So I'll get to travel. But that's not the way it happened. And,
well, tell us how it happened once you entered the Red Cross.
Like I said, I signed up that I would go into the service, and so I was.
And what was it called back then for women?
I forgot. I had the paper someplace where it said.
the Women's Army Corps, or?
I think so. Because it wasn't until later that it became the Army Nurse Corps.
Mm-hmm.
They even had an Army Nurse song.
Mm-hmm.
I never did learn it because it just was introduced to us one day. But we were accepted as second lieutenants, reserve, I think it was called. And I reported for duty on the 1st of October, 42. And later that night, somebody called me from the office. They told me that transportation was going to send me some, transportation to go pick up somebody at the railroad station. And it was my classmate from Brownsville that I went to pick up. So,
where were you first? Where were you first sent as an Army nurse?
I was sent to the women's ward,
Uh-huh.
and that was all general medical surgery
The women's ward where?
at Brooke General Hospital at Fort St. Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I was sent to the obstetric ward, and there I was 13 months, I think. And it was pretty hectic. That's where I learned also that there was such a place as Attu.
As a what?
Attu. You know, Attu Island in Alaska.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that either because there was a sailor who came up and he asked to see his baby. And of course it was the wrong time. And I said, I'm sorry, but you have to. He says, you mean to tell me that I came all the way from Attu and you won't let me see my baby? And I said, Attu? That sounded funny to me. You mean you don't know? I said, no, I don't. So then he told me, I wasn't aware there was such a place.
Did he get to see his baby?
Yes, he got to see his baby. He was a sailor. No.
And that was when there were just very limited visiting hours.
Well, they could see them. In fact, they could see them right off, But if it happened to be at the time, but they could not visit the
Mm-hmm.
mother
Mm-hmm.
on the ward if they were being attended to or if the babies were out to be feeding. So
Husbands couldn't visit their wives?
they
or
could visit their wives at visiting hours.
only during visiting
Or
hours?
only during visiting hours.
Which were how long?
Uh,
Do you remember? Or about when?
I know that they could come back at 2. Probably 2 hours, I don't know,
Mhm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the evening was 7. I think it was 7 to 8, 7 to 9.
And what shift did you work? How long did you work?
I worked all shifts, and we used to work 12-hour shifts.
Mm-hmm.
I was a charge nurse at nighttime, and it was pretty hard. Sometimes we had some of the women that we had to even place them in the kitchen, where we had all our supplies for their snacks,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to have them crowd in.
So were there a lot of babies being born
Oh,
to
boy.
soldiers?
Quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
And after the war, I met my ward officer at San Nicolas when I was doing private duty, and I said, "Oh my gosh," and he stopped me and he says, "Aren't you the one that worked and no beans? I'm Major Sears." I said, "Yes, I know who you are." How well I could remember, because there were a couple of times that I thought he was going to ask for me to be moved off, because he was very strict with his patients and with the way everything was. And I remember one time he got a little disturbed because sometimes he used to have some other women just come in for blood transfusions, when they came to the OB clinic. And I was supposed to, I was given orders to call an intern to come and start that blood transfusion. And I kept calling him, and he wouldn't come. And there it was, getting late, and the lady was still there. And I said, well, I'm going to start it. Because I knew how to give IVs.
Mm-hmm.
And so he walks in and says, what, no nice language are you doing? I said, I'm trying to get this started. I said, well, you know that I told you so and so. And so I said, I know, he never did come. And I thought, oh boy, he's going to kick me out. He didn't. And then another time, he had another special patient, because he always made a note on his special patients, whether it was an officer's wife or whether it was a soldier's wife that needed attention, or that he wanted to take care of himself, not the OD. And so he came to check, and I know he had been at the officer's quarters because he later told me. And he called me and he says, how's everything? I said, well, everything is quiet right now. It's okay. And just about that time that he took off, they called me from the labor room that the lady was getting ready to go. So gosh, I'm gonna have to call him. And he lived just what we call the circle, just behind the hospital. So I'll call him. So he says, what the H do you mean calling me when I just went up there? And I said, I'm sorry, but I can't help this. So he came, and so I had to help prepare the patient and all that. So he came in, and I guess I must have given him a dirty look, I don't know. Because he kept looking, and then he kept grinning. Of course, I had my mess, he had his mess. And he kept grinning, he was scrubbing. He says, I'm sorry. He says, if I gave you help. I said, well, sir, that I have no control over this. I know. So, and I thought, again, he's going to pick me up. No, nothing happened. Another time there was a general that came, or I think he was a general. He wanted to see his grandkid. And I had not looked up, and I said, I'm sorry, no visiting hours. I looked up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So I said, I'm sorry, sir, you cannot see. I had already told him. So he says, well, when can I see him? So I told him. He says, all right, I'll be back. And then the other nurses there says, my gosh, you went ahead and told that general he couldn't go see us. I said, well, those are our orders, aren't they? So, no, nothing happened. So that's why I was surprised when I saw him at Santa Rosa, and he recognized me. And he knew that I used to help with what was then being used, the caudal anesthesia for women.
Uh-huh.
The spinal deal.
Oh, uh-huh. And what was it called?
They used to call him caudal.
Oh, yes, I think I remember that. Uh-huh.
And Caudal. And he says, did you do caudals with me? And I said, yes. I said, how would you like to work with me? I said, no, I think I had enough. And he died already too. And then after that, they were sending, separating the nurses, sending them here and there. So we asked, by that time we had received what they later on started as basic training,
Mm-hmm.
So I had met some other girls there. So we asked to see if we could be placed together. So they sent us to Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
About when was this?
That was what? Maybe it's in here.
okay, November 20th, 1943.
something like that.
So you were at Fort Sam Houston Station from 1942 to November 1943.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's what you told me before.
And then afterwards, well, I was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Till I don't remember. They were sending the nurses overseas then. And
And what did you do at Fort Sill?
at
Was
Fort Sill, I used to take care. We had different units. I was at what they call the cantonment hospital. They were more or less built like barracks,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And our nurses' quarter were alongside too. So we just had to go from one section to the other, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because they had. I guess that's the way the barracks were in the service. I don't. But we used to have the upper respiratory ward. And, then afterwards, I had the dental, the eye, the medical, and disposition ward. And at night, when I went on night duty, they gave me the whole section too, plus the officers' ward.
Mm-hmm.
And there, I didn't have any problems there. Of course, in the medical ward is where we used to lose a patient now and then if they were very ill.
Now, were any of these patients, had they been at the war front and they came
Some
back?
of them had been at the war front, and we used to have one that I guess he had nightmares
Uh-huh.
because he would wake up and he would try and crawl under his bed.
Oh, dear.
And some of them were there for their basic at Fort Sill in the artillery. We had officers OAC, or that were taking officer advanced courses,
Mm-hmm.
and we had some officers that had been there already overseas.
Mm-hmm. The last time we met, you were talking about some of the regulations that they set up for nurses. Can you tell me about these regulations?
Well, some of the regulations were that you could not go with enlisted men, although a lot of us did.
Uh-huh.
And I used to say, well, my brothers are enlisted. You know, I wasn't going.
So you couldn't date enlisted men, or you just
We were
couldn't
not
even be with
supposed
them?
to. We were not supposed to because whether anybody ever got reprimanded on that, I don't know. Because whenever we went, we wouldn't meet at the downtown
Mm-hmm.
area, you know. And, no one ever checked us there. It was out in the open public. And of course, the nurses could not get married to enlisted men, or were not supposed to
Mm-hmm.
or get married. Because
And what would happen if they
were,
did?
one was they were sent to some other base.
Uh-huh.
Like I had a girlfriend who married her boyfriend from the one I went to meet from Brunswick,
Mm-hmm.
and she went ahead and got married. Of course, she became pregnant and was out because what happened?
Name?
Elba Cortines.
Okay. Tell us about some of the other regulations that they had for nurses. What you were and were not supposed to do.
Well, they said that they would not advise us to take cameras at the base.
Uh-huh.
We
So
had
you
to
weren't
have
supposed to
special
take-
permission
To take a picture?
if we were not allowed to take any pictures in any important area. It's what, more or less is what they refer to, I guess. And we were always supposed to wear our uniforms, although we used to go out the back way because our quarters were more or less like a barracks, like at Fort Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Now at Fort Sill, we always wore a uniform because it was too far to go to town, and Lawton was just a little one main drag block, you might say, or maybe 2 blocks,
Mm-hmm.
and it was quite a distance. And well, we didn't. They always told us that we should go in pairs, not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And we had access to the officers' club there, but it was a distance, you know. So if we had days, we were able to go.
Mm-hmm.
But then later, they built a special officers' club just across the street from the nurses' quarters, right within the cantonment hospital. So it was easy. So we had a hard time or anything like that. We could just run up to our quarters.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And what were your uniforms like? What did your uniforms look like?
Are you talking about the hospital wear or the street wear?
Both.
Well, the street wear at Fort Sam was blue skirt. We could either wear a white or a blue shirt with a black tie, and we could wear or not wear the navy blue jacket,
Mm-hmm.
and we had navy blue capes, and we had overseas, what they call garrison caps, I think. At Fort Sill, they changed from the white uniform on the parts to a wraparound pinstripe seersucker,
Oh.
and the caps were more or less like cone shapes,
Mm-hmm.
and of course brown shoes. I mean, we didn't wear white anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of the dress too that we were allowed overseas. But the color of our uniforms changed too. We had olive drab skirt, and we could wear a dress, but they did not furnish it. We could buy it, but we were allowed to buy it.
And that was
That was at Fort Sill,
at Fort Sill. Uh-huh.
and we had beige skirts and olive drab jackets,
Mm-hmm.
and the garrison cap, or we could get the beige one,
Mm-hmm.
but we had to buy those too.
Uh-huh.
And I guess that's when I got also that I think you saw a picture, you know, where I have that. I don't really know what they call that cap, where you have your eagle.
Uh-huh.
And we had olive drab capes.
What other regulations did they place on the nurses? You mentioned to me the last time that you weren't allowed to have a radio or listen to the radio.
No, that was we didn't have radios. That was overseas. We didn't
Oh,
have
it was when
radios.
you got overseas, you
We
could
didn't have
not have a
radios.
radio.
Uh-huh.
And anything else that was a regulation that you had to follow?
Conduct ourselves.
What did describe say a day in your life in as a nurse? what did you do for enjoyment, or were that you mentioned that you worked 12 hours? So did you have time for entertainment?
Well, when we had our days off, we used to have a day off.
One day off?
It depended more or less. I forgot. We either had a day off or we got it so that we could have worked it out so we could have a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes our hours were split in shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And that was towards the Animus Day at Fort Sill, I think, when they started doing that. The chief nurse at Fort Sill was a little more strict in the way she treated her personnel, you might say, because she was not she didn't seem to be the friendly type.
Mm-hmm.
And the one at Fort Sill made you feel like home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was very, very nice.
So what did you do when you had a day off?
When we had a day off, well, we either dated some of the officers that would call to get together. We used to get together in a group.
Mm-hmm. So even though you weren't supposed to date,
No, officers.
oh, you date officers, but not.
Not enlisted men.
Oh, I see.
No, enlisted men is what we could not.
So for the officers, that was fine. They could have dates with the.
Right.
And where did you go when you went on a date?
Well, like I said, we used to have the officers club, and then there was a place, a nightclub that was between Lawton and Fort Sill, the camp, you know, the base. And we used to go there and dance.
Mm-hmm.
And at that place they had a Nickelodeon. But when we had they built us the officers club across the street. Then we either had a Nickelodeon or once in a while we had a band.
Uh-huh.
And we had access to just about anything there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when we had access at night to to our mess hall, because they always had left the key there, so that we could go in there and eat
Mm-hmm.
if we were hungry during the
Mm-hmm.
night.
Mm-hmm.
And there I was surprised because they used to serve beer, although some of the girls, I never drank the beer, but some of the girls used to use it for their hair. So, and we had access to ice cream. I went for the ice cream, I went for the rolls if they were there.
Mm-hmm. When were you sent abroad?
Let's see. We got our orders. Oh,
It was in 1944. Is that correct?
let's see. I know they had a leave of absence before.
Uh-huh.
They sent us to Camp Barkley
Uh-huh.
to get organized.
Mm-hmm.
And from there they sent us to, I guess that was around November,
Mm-hmm.
and went to Camp Kilmer,
Uh-huh.
and there we stayed a while, and it was cold as heck. Then we left.
You told me before it was November 1944 when you were at Camp Kilmer, so you left sometime after that?
Let's see. I think I have it here. We left Camp Kilmer in December on the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
And we arrived on the 19th at United Kingdom is what they called it. And we were attached to the 317 Station Hospital. waiting for our orders to cross the channel. And we went on the Queen Mary.
Oh. And how was the trip over?
Very nice. Do we have 2 meals a day? We had 2 meals a day. In fact, I even have one of the menus signed by the one who used to serve us our meals.
Oh.
And we were not, the only place where we could go was to a huge hall where they had set it up like a big old living room, you might say. It had a stage so that we could see movies, and or occasionally just somebody's band played there, some army band. But we either played cards or wrote letters. We had to wear our life jackets on, and
All the time?
all the time.
Hmm.
And sometimes we forgot it and said, "Where's your life jacket?" Well, I said, "Well, I have to go get it."
Mm-hmm.
So we'd go get it. And in order to we never saw daylight. We were always quartered either in our quarters or in the living room.
For those 10 days. Mm-hmm.
And
Were you very crowded?
we had berths like in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what they call it. We had 2, 4, I think it was 6 to that little room.
Mm-hmm.
Had our own bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a place where we could get candy,
Mm-hmm.
and in order to get to our to the dining area, we used to have to go through some of the passageways that were divided into passageways with canvas
Mm-hmm.
sheathing, you might say, and GIs would be sleeping there or throwing up, you know, on either side, and sometimes you didn't know whether you were going to step over a GI or not.
So they were kind of hidden behind canvas?
Well, we used to have, like, in order for us to go to the dining area, we had to go through here, and many times I often wondered why I didn't get lost, because I mean it was a huge area.
Mm-hmm. And why didn't they let you go to see the daylight? Why didn't they let you go upstairs?
Well, I don't know how many decks it had,
Uh-huh.
and I suppose because of the time. We were being escorted, but I don't know by who.
Mm-hmm. Could you hear any ammunition going off or anything
No.
like that? Any gunfire?
No, you couldn't hear it. I think we were just about maybe, I don't remember whether it was D deck or what,
Mm-hmm.
but I know that I didn't see anything else but that.
So you were down there for safety. Mm-hmm. And what happened once you arrived in England, in Great Britain? What happened after that?
But we waited there at the station hospital until we got orders to go to, or that they got the ship, I guess, the Sobieski, I think it was, to cross the channel. And it took us all night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be just a 30-minute ride.
But
And
it took all night.
it was a luxury
Uh-huh.
ship.
Was it zigzagging or did it go straight?
I never noticed.
Uh-huh.
I never noticed. And it was nighttime when we boarded on at the ship. And then we went where? thing that we went to after we crossed, we landed in daytime, and they at Lahar, and we got on the LS, whatever they call those landing deals. And across the channel, we ended up in Foab. It was supposed to be an old maternity hospital. From there, we went to. We were on our way to Rouen, and it was snowing. And we had a driver who was a black man, and he got lost because he got lost with from the the convoy, I guess. So he left us there until he went to ask where he was supposed to take us. And that's when we got to Foab. And then in Foab, we boarded a train that was supposed to take us to our main place. And again, it was just a sit up and wait deal. And we had a train that was all boarded up with cardboard. And we were supposed to have gotten there that night, but we didn't.
Why do you suppose it was boarded up?
Broken windows. Broken windows. No heat, no nothing. And the compartments had a seating like that you touched knees, with one across. And my friend and I were the skinny ones, and we got the window. So, all that wet thing, you perspiring on the windows, all this was getting on us. It was cold. And we were wearing all our winter clothing, and it was still cold. And they told us that we were supposed to have arrived the next day. And when we woke up, it was the sun was shining, but we never moved. We stayed there all night. They couldn't get any clearance, I guess, to keep on going. And I don't remember how we got on the next shipment, you might call it, because that's when we and again it was. No, I guess it was the same time on the train. Then we came through some town close to Sison, and it was nighttime, and we ended up there, and the 82nd Airborne was quartered there, and they had heard that we were supposed to arrive, so they had warmed up their units. I mean, it was really warm. They had put all their stoves on to keep the air, set up cots in the huge hall. And we got there. And like I said, I was so cold that when I got close to that stove and I burned my hand and I didn't even realize I had burned it.
Oh my.
And I talked to my brother about it. He said it happened to him too when he went to Alaska. Anyway, we ate, and of course we went to sleep afterwards. And then the next day they gave us our temporary quarters. And it wasn't until late that they quartered us in what used to be an old cavalry post.
Oh, so eventually,
And
how
the
long
buildings were from an old cavalry post.
was there heat there?
We had to make our own heat. If we could find anything. I remember I had a piece of material that my mother had given me because I told her that in case I needed to do something, and my roommate decided to make like a little curtain. And then I found in some dump the trash, you might say, one of those old sacks, like they used to put potatoes in.
Burlap.
Burlap.
Mm-hmm.
And so she used that as a cover up in a little shelf that we improvised. But there one time it was so cold and I couldn't get a fire started, so I put that burlap in there to get the fire started, which I did. And of course she was upset. Oh, you messed up the curtain. I said, well, it was cold. And I had to get the fire started. So eventually I let her have that material. Mm-hmm. And there they sent us to another camp. No, we had we cleaned up the area where we were going to have the hospital. And our first patient was one who fell off his bunk and broke his foot.
Oh.
But anyway, we cleaned up the whole thing, set it up. And we started working. Then they called several of us that they were getting the most stable nurses. That's the way that it was worded. We all wondered what the heck is going on.
Most stable.
Yeah, that's the term that she used. So she called a big group, and we were sent to some other evacuation hospital. And there we stayed. We were wondering what we were going to do. Then they separated in groups of 4. And that's when we were sent to the 101st Evacuation Hospital.
Mm-hmm. And what exactly is an evacuation hospital?
Well, it's like they have they have the first aid, the casualties, then they go on down the line. And the evacuation is actually as to disposition the person, whether he's going to go to surgery or whether he's going to remain or whether he's going to the U.S. or whether he's going to England, United Kingdom.
So is this the first place he comes after?
No. After he has gone down the line.
I see.
Because
so it's the last place.
They have a field hospital. They have a battalion first aid or something. I don't remember the first ones.
Mm-hmm.
But evacuation is where you receive all the ones that have been more or less given first aid, and you're going to decide what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they used to bring them by the loads. They had those cots set up in this big old hall. And this was at in Luxembourg.
Oh, this is in Luxembourg now.
Luxembourg.
The 101st Evacuation Hospital is in Luxembourg. Uh-huh.
And that was supposed to have been the summer palace that belonged to the Duchess of Luxembourg.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, it was beautiful. It could have been beautiful before all those casualties were there. And there we used to receive American personnel as well as German personnel. So,
And how many patients were in this hospital?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Because, like I said, I forgot what this receiving area is where we used to have to clean them up if they had time to be there. Otherwise, they would go on down the line either to surgery or to a more special care unit,
Uh-huh.
or whether they were supposed to be someplace else.
Do you remember about how many beds were there? How big it was?
I never noticed. I just know that there were just too many. The areas were huge.
Did you always have enough beds for all the patients?
Well, those cots were there so that when one had to be, those litters with the handles were placed on cots. See, and so they were in a raised area. So when they had to travel, they didn't have to move the patient. They just picked up the litter and took him off. And then when they went in the beds, well, that was different. It's like there was this. It might have been a living room where I worked with some of the patients. They were on, bed patients. There was a mantelpiece on one side, and mirrors on the other side, candelabras here. And
oh my!
Yeah, and so and real nice light fixtures. The stairway it went up and then it went towards the sides. It was beautiful. I mean, it could have been beautiful. And the grounds were big, but I never went to the grounds.
How busy were you there?
Always on the go. It seemed like we were always on the go, except maybe when we were going to be start getting ready to go to where? To Germany. Because see, the personnel that set up the hospitals always went first. So we had to wait until they were more or less give them enough time to set up so that then they would carry the rest of the personnel. And always we were taken in ambulances. So we were always covered like like a circus. So it seems.
Did you have 12-hour days in Luxembourg?
Yeah, there we were 12 hours.
And where did you sleep there?
I know that there was a room where a bunch of us had beds in there, cots.
So was it very crowded for you?
I guess you could call it a little bit on the crowded side.
Did you have heat there?
Yeah. Well, I guess we did. I guess we did. I can't remember too well because most of the time we were dressed. I mean, we didn't have time. There was no way where you could really get undressed. And of course, when we had our baths, if you want to call them that, we took them out of helmets.
Were there times when you were a lot busier than other times, like maybe after a certain battle, or?
Well, I guess when we were a little more, it seemed like to me like in a way we were busier was when we were in Germany.
When you went to
because
Germany?
I mean it just seemed like they were coming in droves.
And when did you go to Germany? Right after you were in FOAM?
After Luxembourg.
After Luxembourg, I'm sorry.
After Luxembourg.
So it was in 1940.
That was 45.
1945. And where in Germany were you?
I think the name of it was Lockersee.
Or
the hotel where we were quartered was named Lockersee. They had a little lake across the street. And this setup was in a monastery. See, when they were getting the finishing the setup, we arrived when the nuns were busy getting whatever they could, pictures, taking them inside, and where they were or hiding them. I guess I don't know.
Were these German nuns?
I guess. I guess. And they had a big old entrance at the front, and door to the side was a place where they grew vegetables and I don't know what else, flowers.
Mhm.
And that was by the monks or priests, whatever they were
Mhm.
called.
Mhm.
Because my roommate and I were exploring the area, and we were talking about, oh, how pretty this is, and somebody said, oh, y'all like this? And he was one of the men, in his habit. And he says, oh, y'all live here? Yeah. He said, I was in a war too, World War One. He said, and then he said, I miss a nine.
Mhm. So there were both nuns and monks there.
Monks or priests, what I don't know what they were called.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. On the other side was a highway or the road that
Mhm.
led up to a hill. But I never explored that either,
Mhm.
because we always had MP's guards, that would tell us whether we could go or not.
Mhm.
We did go across the street on one of the days, and we, in fact, I had a picture of that where the other three girls and I. So yeah, there was a place where they were racing silver fox.
Mhm.
Then in the lake there was some GIs that were working on those pontoons,
Mhm.
and so we asked them what they were doing. And said, "Do you want to ride?" Yeah, we want to ride.
Mhm.
So I took us for a ride.
So was this after then Victory in Europe Day, after May of 1945? No, this was before.
No, this is before.
Uh-huh.
This is before. This is like it's between February and March.
Uh-huh. And the people who were coming in the hospital, the patients were...
After we really got going,
Mhm.
we had civilians brought in,
Mhm.
little girls. We had an old lady who refused to eat. She refused to have anything done with her. She was real haughty. I guess you don't blame her in a way, because her village was messed up and she was hurt.
Were they bombing the area? Is that...
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They were supposed to be about 5 miles away from us, because
Mhm.
that was Patton's Third Army,
Uh-huh. And could you hear?
At night you could hear and see the sparks or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And you could hear the boom, boom.
But the hospital was never bombed.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and we used to have a password, but I never did know the password. And I used to say, well, if I'm asleep and I come back and you have a different password, how could I know?
And the password was for what?
Well, the first one was Fox,
Uh-huh.
but the following ones I didn't know.
But what did they use the password for?
To go through at night, if you
Uh-huh.
worked at night, you
Uh-huh.
had to go through this MP, on
I see.
the
I
one
see.
that was close to the road.
Uh-huh.
But the main entrance would be closed at nighttime,
Mm-hmm.
so that we only had that. And then with a flashlight walking,
Mm-hmm. Were there a lot of, you mentioned that there were German soldiers. Were there American soldiers too that came in, or was mostly German soldiers, or
we
mostly
had
civilians, or?
We had some very young, a couple of young German. Forgot what they call them. They're supposed to be some of the mean ones.
The SS or
No.
Gestapo?
SS.
Mm-hmm.
Real strong looking. And they both had stomach wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had these rubber tubes that they called wagons in sections. At that time, I don't know what they called them now.
Wagon?
That's what we used to call them.
What did they call them?
Wagon stick.
Wagon stick?
No. WAGENSTEIN.
Uh-huh.
Suction. They suction up their stomach
Mhm.
to get all that material. And one of them used to get up and just pull it out from the
Mhm.
other one, and he'd pull out his. And you would insert it, he would still do it. The following day I found out that they both had died.
Mm-hmm.
They had to, but they didn't. I guess they didn't want to be taken prisoners or something.
Yes.
More than likely.
Mm-hmm.
And this little girl that I'll never forget, she was such a pretty little girl, about 6 years old. But she wouldn't let anybody but this corpsman that she fell in love with. Anything she wanted, she wanted. You wanted to give her some? She wanted.
Mm-hmm. And what was her wound?
She had them in their legs, leg wounds.
Mm-hmm.
But the cutest little blonde, blue-eyed girl. And I also had a man who I could have sworn was Hitler. The way he had his hairdo and his mustache.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh my God, don't tell me we have Hitler. But he looked every bit like him.
Huh.
I mean, every bit like him. And let's see. Oh, that's where one of the days that I was working and my roommate had a couple of hours that they had given her. So she went exploring. That's where when she found that swastika.
Uh-huh.
And he said, here is the one for you and one for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason I have.
Now, were you still there in May of 1945?
No, we came back in at the end of March.
Oh, okay.
Then
You came back to where?
to Sison.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that's where I think I've told you, maybe or maybe not, when we were in Luxembourg. There was this little Belgian boy that when he found out that we were going to go to Germany, he says, I'm not going to Germany. And that's because he worked, I don't know whether he was displaced or what, but he was working with whatever unit would allow him to work.
Was he a teenager or?
He was 19 at the
19,
time.
uh-huh. And where he was from Luxembourg?
No, I don't know what part of, no, he was
Belgium?
from Belgium.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know what part of it. I don't remember because he ever told me that. But he said, I'm not going to Germany. I'm going to go to your hospital. I said, no, you better not. He says, yes, I am. And sure enough, when we got back to Sison, here he comes and clamps a bracelet on me, you know. And he was glad to see me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to feel, really. and my classmate said, oh, you're engaged.
So this was in Sison, and you had an American hospital there, or?
Yes, that was our 242nd General Hospital.
Now, were you attached to a specific unit of the military?
That was my...
The 242nd?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's...
But those others were temporary duties, more or less.
And how long did you stay in Sison?
I think we left in, well, let me see, on May the 5th, I was supposed to have gone to Paris to celebrate my birthday.
Uh-huh.
And they canceled it.
Uh-huh. They canceled your birthday?
Yes, they canceled my birthday. And yet, I remember that night, so something must have happened around there. I was sitting in our quarters, in our window, because there were low windows and you could sit there on the sill and at night, and started hearing like firecrackers all over the place. And I said, I wonder what the heck that is. And somebody says, the war is over. So I guess somebody knew ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
But then on May the 8th, they let us go to Paris. That's when I got to really go to Paris.
Great.
Now, of course, I wish I had been there in peacetime, not then.
Mm-hmm. How long did you stay in Paris?
Just that one day.
Uh-huh.
Just that one day.
And how did Paris look?
Well, to me it was nice. I mean, it's something that I had read about, and I had wanted to see. And so I got to see the Eiffel Tower, although we couldn't go up there because they were not allowing anybody to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
got to see the statue of Joan of Arc, the Arc de Triomphe. Got to ride the metro. Uh, got to see the sidewalk of faith. Oh, and this friend of ours, we went in couples, you know. So this man got tickets to go to the Follies Bridge there. So I got to see that. And of course, it's different than what it is over here. If we had been over here, everybody would have whistled and yelled and stomped and all that. But out there, you could even hear a pin drop.
Huh.
You know, it was, and we all had little private sections to sit on. What else?
That was quite a bit for one day.
Well, I think that's when I told her that we met these other girls at the hotel where we were staying, and they were sitting outside, and they were cutting up, and they were wearing roses, and they was playing that they had gotten married, and they wanted to go celebrate. We went someplace, and of course we pretended we were taking pictures, and the waiter comes and brings us a bottle of wine, because he really thought that we had a wedding in our hands. And some other officer came out and says, "What are you all doing?" I said, "We're celebrating." "You want to join?" "Yeah, you want to join." So we all just talked and kidded and all that. Then we left. Everybody went their way, and this other guy that was invited, they left. "What?" So we just played. He says, "I thought it was for real."
How were people acting when they heard that the war had ended in Europe? Was there a big celebration or?
In Sison,
Uh-huh.
we had a parade. The people from Sison had, and we went to see it. In Reims, we took part in a parade. I don't remember the date.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I saw one of my girlfriends, or the two of them, after it was disbanded.
How much longer did you stay in Europe?
Well, they were going to send us to the CBI in June, I think. So we started on our way to...
And the CBI was the
No,
China...
August maybe. Because we were on our way to Marseille. And then we heard along the way that the Japan had surrendered. But we went on our way to Marseille.
And the CBI was the China,
Burma, and India.
The war that was going on.
Yeah. And so we got to Marseille, and some of the personnel was given leave to go to the Lourdes and taking turns, you know. But then the commanding officers had a meeting, and they said that ask who could assemble their units. So he raised his hand. So some of the personnel was left behind. And we came on the Boarding King ship, left Marseille in August. And it took us 10 days too, I think.
And where did you come?
From there they sent us to... Golly, I don't know. I know we ended up in Alabama.
And did you come back home to San Antonio, or?
We stayed there a little bit. Then we were sent to Fort Sam, and we received orders that we were supposed to have, I think, 45 days or 15 days. I don't remember the amount of leave we had. But while we were home, we received another letter that it had been extended. So actually, I think it was a 45-day leave. And then we went to Camp Cyber, Alabama. Then we went back to Alabama.
Oh, so they sent you back to Alabama.
Yes. And from there is when it was they asked us if we wanted to stay or leave.
Uh-huh.
And so we wanted to leave.
Mhm.
We thought it was too long. And so we went to check out. And that's the reason that I said I never did get my campaigns at all, because I didn't have any record at all.
So you didn't get your campaign medal?
We didn't get any medals. We
Uh-huh.
just got a ribbon.
Uh-huh.
And I got my ATO ribbon with 2 little stars. They were already there. I didn't put it. And it was the
So tell us what those are, and also the one that you never did get.
no, I did get. What I did not get were the actual medals.
Uh-huh.
See, this was just the ribbons.
I see. Uh-huh. And what are those called?
This is the European Theater
Uh-huh.
with 2-star campaigns. And then the Victory Medal, and the American Theater is the one that I guess the kids got
Mm-hmm.
or lost.
Mm-hmm.
No, see, all these ribbons are supposed to have medals.
Yes.
So
You didn't
I
get
didn't
either of
get
those
any
medals.
of them. No.
Uh-huh. Any of the medals.
No. And I know that one of the campaigns was for the Rhineland or
Mhm.
for that, and the other one was either the northern France or the Bulge,
Mm-hmm.
because I received one from the 101st Evac Hospital. I guess that was the Rhineland, and then one from my unit.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't find it in my. So far, I haven't been able to find it. Although there was a time that I did find it.
Mm-hmm. Now, did your friends get their medals, or?
I never got in contact with them,
Uh-huh.
so I really don't know whether they
So
did
you
or
don't
not.
know the
No, I
reason
don't.
why you didn't.
And like I said, I was so eager to get out that I didn't sign any affidavits because I wasn't sure.
Talking a little bit during our break here about your brothers were also, you had some brothers
Yeah.
also in the war.
Yeah. My brother Rodolfo.
Uh-huh. Rodolfo.
Like, he was 19 at the time. In 42, he went to England, and he was there as an aircraft mechanic.
Uh-huh.
And he stayed there till sometime in 45.
Mm-hmm.
Then, because when I came back, he was still in the Navy. When I came on leave, and then Roger was in Europe, and let me see, there must have been about 44 when he went over there. But he was out. He came home after I got home, and but he was in Europe. Then let me see, the other brother was it Roy.
Mm-hmm.
He went in the Air Force, and he was sent to Alaska,
Mm-hmm.
and he was supposed to have let me see, that was in the I don't know what they called it, the Cold War or what,
Mm-hmm.
but he was helping transport equipment or whatever.
So this was after World War II.
This was in the 50s.
In the 50s. Uh-huh.
Uh,
Okay.
And then there was Carlos. He was with the 7th Fleet in the Navy. And that was when they were out there in the Pacific with that, what was it? I don't know. But all I know is that his wife was staying here with me. And she heard that the 7th Fleet was going to be in, I think she said, the Pacific.
And this was also after World War II.
Yes, I
Mhm.
think this was during the Korean
During the Korean War.
or something. Yeah.
Mhm.
So he was up there in the Pacific waters. I don't know where.
Now, during the war, World War II, how did it affect your family to have you uh, in Europe, not far from the war front, and to have
You know,
your brothers there?
I really don't know because it seems like my mother never seemed to worry too much about me. She knew that I knew what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she could always, in other words, she didn't seem to think that I would do any wrong.
Or that you were in danger.
Or well, maybe she did, you know, but she never mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
She never mentioned it, at least not to me.
Mm-hmm.
And my sisters never did mention anything.
Now, did you write to your brothers while they were?
Yes.
And how did your mother feel about having your brothers?
I think she was more concerned about them.
Uh-huh.
You know, because she knew that they would be in the front, maybe.
Uh-huh.
And
How did your family feel about the war in general? Did they support you all going over, or?
well, she always gave us the advice that it was something like, you know you're right, you go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. How do you think? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And she just always says, be careful,
Mm-hmm.
and may God bless you.
Mm-hmm. How do you think the war changed your life?
My life, I think I miss most of my youth in a way, you know, because like I wasn't really able to wear any dresses. All that time, you know, just uniforms,
Mm-hmm.
or like when I was home, maybe a sports dress, you know. And I don't know, it just seemed to me like I might have missed something. But then I mean, I wouldn't give anything for my experience either.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed a lot of it. I got to meet a lot of friends. Partying other way was the hardest, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And like this classmate that I had, or roommate, she got married at Fort Sill. Then she met her husband in Europe.
And what was her name again?
Helen Louise Hayes.
Yes.
And they went on their second honeymoon in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was sent to Korea. He got to go home. They had 2 little girls, but then during the Korean War, he was missing in action.
Mm.
This other girlfriend, Cortinas, Elba
Mhm.
Cortinas, she's the one that married her boyfriend from Brownsville. He was a tail gunner. They had a little girl, but he was also lost in action.
Mm. How do you think the war affected Mexican Americans in general?
Well, you know, I was never too much aware of anything that there was anything of the sort. It wasn't until I got out that I started, like one of the lawyers that was became very prominent and had a sad life, a sad ending, was Gus Garcia.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you ever heard of him or not. He was one who went to school with a cousin that I met in Luxembourg. Again.
There's a Gus Garcia in Austin. I wonder how they're related, if they are.
Well, I don't know. He went to Texas U.
Mm-hmm.
See, he earned a scholarship from Jefferson, and I think he was the only Mexican then from Jefferson, because I think that's when I started hearing, maybe when Jefferson was made of it. that there was a lot of the Anglo people going, mostly Anglo people, or the fairly good means going to Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
And also the ones that wanted to could go to Jefferson from Tech if they wanted to, because at that time Tech was changed from Main Avenue to Tech.
Mm-hmm. So did Tech become more of a Mexican American school?
No,
or
it was still mixed, but there was a new school,
Mm-hmm.
but it was offering more because see, Tech was a technical and vocational school,
Mm-hmm.
although you could take academic courses.
Mm-hmm.
And Jefferson was more or less like an academic, anybody going to college,
Mm-hmm.
went to university. And he earned a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a good debater. He was always coming out in the paper that he had won awards for his debates.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned he went to Texas U and he did well. When he finished, he started practicing. And he's one of the ones that apparently started something in regard to defending the Mexican people for some
In
reason.
school desegregation cases,
I think so.
Yes.
That's when I started hearing about that, and I wasn't aware that such a thing was going on. And I think I read an article about somebody just recently, and I can't remember what it was either. But I think it's more or less related to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he was the only son. Something. Anyway, he was married and then he started drinking a lot heavily. And I think he was found dead.
Oh.
But it was during the time of that other I think he was also had something to do with segregation. I can't recall his name either. I don't know whether he belongs to the Lulacs or
Mm-hmm.
Garza. I can't remember names anymore. And so I wasn't aware. Then it started coming out of some of the students that, or some of the people that are already recognized now. They mentioned, or comes out in write-ups in the paper, that they were forbidden to speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like that ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm. What about here in San Antonio? What was it like for Mexican Americans after the war? Were there any racial conflicts or any problems that you knew of?
Only what I read in the paper,
Uh-huh.
But like I said, I never seemed to have it. I would hear about it.
What sorts of things did you hear about?
Well, like I said, so and so is this or so and so is that, or that they were looked down.
Mm-hmm.
But I never came into any of that.
Okay. And the Chicano movement that occurred in the 1960s, do you believe that had a positive impact on Mexican Americans or no impact? Or how do you think that affected Mexican Americans?
At that time I was busy raising this little girl that I didn't think I ever paid much attention to anybody else. Maybe I was too selfish. Like, you have to take care of your family. I had a mother who was sick all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and problems at the house or whatever. Somebody being operated on, somebody needing help, somebody, it was always, or getting together in a festival, and
Let's switch now and talk about what you did after the war in terms of your career and then how you met
I think
your
I
husband.
stopped after I stopped working because, like in '52, there was a shortage of nurses, and they seemed to be getting personal because I was working at the Green at that time.
Mm-hmm. So right after the war, you eventually came back to San Antonio. About when was that? When you came back?
Well, I came
In
back
46?
in '46 to stay,
Uh-huh.
and then I went in '47 to Cleveland. Then I came back to stay.
So in 47, you went to Cleveland and you went to work where?
Western Reserve University Hospitals.
Okay, and then after that, did you find any problems there
No.
being a Mexican American?
No,
Mm-hmm.
except they were always asking me what nationality I was. One time there was a lady says, "Oh, you're Jewish." I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "Why? I'm not a Jew." He says, "Yeah." I said, "You got a hump in your nose." So my mother has a hump too, but we're not Jewish. Another time says, "You're Italian." I said, "I'm not Italian. I'm nothing but a New Mexican." But and another time I got tickled because this sister that I have brought one of her neighbors, and she came here and she says, "Do you speak English?" Or something like that. "Do you speak Spanish?" I think she said, "Do you speak Spanish?" I said, "I should. She's my sister." You know, people have come in here and asked me if I speak. Okay. If I speak Spanish. I said, "Of course." I don't see why. But that one tickled me about her. You're Jewish. From where?
So after you were in Cleveland, then you came back to San
I
Antonio
came back to San Antonio and I ended up at the Green.
at the Green Memorial
At the Green
Hospital.
Memorial Hospital. And I worked, which was during the polio season. And at that time I worked as a supervisor, and I worked also taking care of the switchboard, relieving the switchboard.
Oh my!
Yeah. And if they had any surgery, I was there. Or, just the general things that have to be done, admitting patients or helping admitting patients. But the personnel was short then. Then some started coming, and after that, I went into the clinic, and that's where I was in charge of the cancer clinic, where all the people used to come, and all the staff medical doctors were from town, and they came to help run the cancer clinic. Then I was in the contagious ward, and there's during the time that I met my husband.
So tell me about how you met your husband and when it was, and
Well, he dated my sister,
which one?
the older one,
What was her name?
Rachael.
Uh-huh.
He dated my sister, and then afterwards, because see, he was the one that had a car, and this happened through a cousin,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to go to a dance, and that's how I went along.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to go because I didn't have a partner. And then the next time, my sister didn't want to go, but there was going to be a football game between the old schools, Tech and Lanier. So I wanted to see that game. And then the cousins who really knew my husband, that couple didn't want to go, but the other one that was single like me, she wanted to go too. So he ended up taking both of us. And then I ended up, and that's how I met.
And when was that?
This was in 49, I guess. And
Uh-huh.
we got married in February of 50. And we lived with his mother for a while. And this place just had the concrete on the ground when we saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And since it was close to Kelly and he was working there, and I was working out there, I had bus transportation close by, so we ended up.
So what year did you buy this house?
We started in 50.
You got married in 1950, and did you buy the
51,
house?
I'm sorry, 51.
Uh-huh.
In 51.
So you've been here for 50 years.
50 years.
And so in 1952, you stopped.
I stopped because they were sending me personnel that could not help me very well.
Uh-huh.
Like, I had one aide that was sent to me, and I was sent to go take the vital signs, temperatures and all that. And then it seemed like everybody had the same temperature, and I knew that they did not, because people had fevers, and they cannot have no 98 every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to check, and I said, "Look, you're not doing it. Why did you?" I had to confront him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, "No, I cannot be working with people like this. I mean,
Mhm.
if I'm going to be responsible,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people to have me get rid of the patients."
So you were a supervisor.
Well, I was in charge of the floor, just the ward.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those patients were, they all had a private room or all the same.
And this was the cancer unit, or
No, this one was a contagious one.
contagious? Uh-huh.
Contagious, yeah. They had tuberculosis or measles, or
Mm-hmm.
scarlet fever,
Mm-hmm.
you name it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, no, I can't be responsible.
And when did you adopt your daughter?
In 54.
1954.
54.
Mm-hmm.
I adopted my daughter. But she became a teenager during that time when their freedom was given at 18. So I couldn't hold her home. I did all right until she was 18.
What is her name?
Mary Morgan. It's St. Clair now. But we gave her our last name. She's under our last name, Esquivel. And she had those 3 children, but she did. She wasn't such a good mother. She was very timid, I guess. Her first husband wasn't really the best that could be. And she ended up getting a divorce. Then she ended up also married her husband, her brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, well, I really don't know, because she started telling me stories that I never could believe her. And she was just a changed person once she got in touch with, got in with those people. And I ended up taking care of the 3 kids.
So you raised the 3 grandchildren?
That little boy over there was autistic,
Mm-hmm.
nonverbal, and these 2 kids that were here. So,
And what are your grandchildren's names?
Gloria St. Clair is one.
And what does Gloria do?
Well, she works over there at the convenience store.
Uh-huh.
And she's the one that was hit and run over here at the corner.
Oh,
She got gone to the little shop there to buy a hamburger, and she was hit by nobody, because nobody saw her until the man that was working here came to tell me.
was that a long time ago?
In 92. No, wait, 92? Well, she was 20.
Uh-huh.
21 or 22, I forgot.
Uh-huh.
But she had a fracture like that required surgery. And then Joseph, of course, with right now he's going to be, what, he was born in 77, so he's going to be, what, 24?
Mm-hmm. 24.
And this little girl that's in the Navy,
And what's her name?
Lisa Marie,
Uh-huh.
Lisa Marie Esquivel. And she's no problem. She's a smart little kid. And she's doing all right. Right now she's in the what did I tell you the name of the Abraham Lincoln carrier.
In what?
The Abraham Lincoln, the
Aircraft
U.S. carrier, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Aircraft. And she called me last night that they're going to be in Bremerton, Washington, until maybe around July, and then they're going back to the Persian Gulf for another 6 months.
Mm. Are you involved in any community activities or?
No, not anymore. I used to be involved in a lot of the activities from church,
Mm-hmm.
but with the kids I never did do too much except what I could do at home.
And what was the church?
No, well, whenever they had their fundraisers, you know.
What's the name of the church?
Oh, St. Stephen's Church.
Uh-huh.
And then with the, I'm the only woman that belongs to the 4700 VFW. I never did join the
And-
overseas, women's overseas league, I think.
It's
Because
the
that's
47th VFW?
VFW 4700.
4700. Okay. And do you go to their meetings?
Occasion, I started again because for a while I couldn't go.
And how does it feel to be the only woman? How do they
Well,
treat you?
it seems like they praise me every time I'm getting to the point where I feel embarrassed.
Oh.
Because whenever there's a meeting, the one that's the commander right now says that he's very proud because I'm the only woman
Mm-hmm.
in there. And like I said, I never did join the women's overseas league because that's out of my pocket. A lot of them are retired nurses or single. I mean, they have no one to really go for.
So you have to pay for that? The women's
Well, they go into more activities,
Mm-hmm.
which requires quite a bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I did become a charter member of the women in the military. So if you're ever in Washington in that monument, you can
I'll look you up.
look me up there in the computer.
How, what problems do you think Mexican Americans still face, and what advancements do you think that they've made in your lifetime?
What the comments that I hear from one of my former neighbors, that she used to live across the street and she still has her children going to school. Like she says right now, the school where my grandson went to as a special education pupil, she says that the principal doesn't seem to care too much for whatever's going on in the school.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, well, I didn't experience that while he was attending. And like she says, they've done away with the Parent-Teacher Association.
Wow.
And to me, that was one of the things that, to me, it seemed important because that way you could keep track of what your child was doing.
So you were involved in the
I-
PTA when your kids were
Well,
in school?
yes. Well, yes. Here at elementary, when this older girl was going,
When
or
your
no, when
grandchildren?
her mother, when her mother actually,
Mm-hmm.
I was more active because I was even president at one time of the PTA. And we did pretty well. In fact, they even gave me a little bowl,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my term was over. And they don't have that anymore. And when my daughter was going there, the principal was very made sure that all the teachers did what they were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, she was like they saw her coming, they scooted out and went on about the business. But she meant education,
Mm-hmm.
and even the schoolyard, the classrooms were all really neat. Now it seems like they don't seem to care too much. Maybe they will when they have somebody new. And the other, when my granddaughter was going, it was okay. I just participated as in their meetings, or fundraisers. With Joseph, the same thing. And with Lisa, well, Lisa was already staying with her mother then.
Mm-hmm.
So I only did what I could to help her in whatever project she took part in. But just from what I hear, like I don't get around too much
Mm-hmm.
anymore. And whatever my sisters say, like school attendance seems to be one of the things that they're talking about a lot. I used to cry when my mother used to keep me at home just so she could attend to business, because I didn't want to miss school.
Did she do that often?
I was the only one that was dependable
Mm-hmm.
at the time, because my older sister was a sickly girl, with asthma at
Mm-hmm.
the time. And so she could always depend on me. And shoot, I used to stay home maybe when I was 7, or from the time I was 7. If my mother had to go on make payments on different things, water bill, whatever, she used to leave me in charge. Well, especially during vacation time,
Mm-hmm.
or if it was something during the week. I used to stay with the kids, and one of them was a bottle fed. That was my retarded
Yes.
brother.
Was that very often? Like,
Not very often,
uh-huh.
but I mean, she could always depend on me
Mm-hmm.
to take care of him. And,
Are there any other problems that you think that Mexican Americans still confront, or any advancements that they
well,
have made?
the only thing I say, like in functions, like even in graduations,
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in going to a function and everybody yelling, everybody whispering. You don't even get to enjoy the graduation anymore. Now that's what and I never saw that during my time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had, like if they said clap until the end, fine, everybody clapped. Now I said, hey! So the graduations last a long time.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to future generations?
Well, for one thing, the old-fashioned way was good. Like my mother used to say, if I hear that you did something wrong at school, you got punished, I'm going to punish you twice.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know what the punishment was, but we respected it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that they should have a little more respect, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Not all this graffiti that you see. you know, as close as I live, and I've never seen anybody do that graffiti across the street.
Yes,
And that poor old guy paints that thing, and before you know it, that thing is full of it again. Over here, before these people took over, they used to break in and all that, but all the car washing areas. Oh, they get those hoses and just start banging. Sometimes I would come out and tell them to stop it, you know, and then I would say, gosh, why did they start banging on me? And but then when these people came on and they asked us permission to allow, or if we would oppose their operating a tire shop, then we said no, it won't bother us. And so they took us some time, and they were told that they could go ahead, but they had to build a fence. They had to give us some privacy. So the man told him, because I don't know if you noticed that on that side of our property line, it's the lawn is taken care of, or the grass is cut up there. My husband has done that all the way up to the alley on that side.
Is there anything else that you would like to add to your interview? Anything that you wished you could have said and didn't and want to say it now?
I have no idea, except that I have a lot of papers. 50 years, or what is it, 30? I don't know. And sometimes I wonder, should I, because my sister said that I should feel, very proud. I said, I never thought about it that way. I just thought it was something that I wanted to do, and I did, and it's okay.
Well, you should be very proud of yourself.
And then when somebody starts talking about it, then I kind of feel embarrassed, or I don't know what.
Well, you shouldn't be.
I don't know what that is.
Well,
so if I have messed up anything, I'm sorry.
not with us. Thank you very much, Mrs. Esquivel, for this interview. We appreciate your time.
You timed it right on time.
Did you ever learn any German, Mr.?
No, unfortunately.
Oh, he was in San Nicolas until I read it in the paper. Also, you kind of. But she was at the worst part of it. Before we went.
Oh, the 101st Evacuation Hospital is located where the Siegfried line was?
No, well, see, they changed as Patton went along. The 101st went setting up.
Oh, I see. So
It's just.
it was. Ooh. I don't even want to get near it.
See, I was a garbage collector.
You could have made some money off of it.
And then they keep telling me, my nephew is the tallest. See, this is my older one. And the students kind of chopped down because they built up a fence,
Granddaughter, what is
This
her
is
name?
the one that you